spirit is in heaven and Maury's body is in a coffin under the ground.
He is in heaven right now, probably having a lot of fun, but he still kind of misses me.
I was 7.5. My dad had died, and he was 39.
They asked what happened, how did he die, and why? You know, why couldn't someone have cured him?
She had cancer, and she didn't think that she would live long, and she did not want Larry to know, or either one of her children to know at that point.
What makes it so difficult to talk about death to children is the fact that it is the one thing we don't have any control over, and to be able to express that to a child brings out our own vulnerabilities. That's one reason. Another reason is that we don't like to see our children in pain. We like to give them answers, concrete answers, and a lot about death, we just don't have those answers.
A few days after Christmas, I came bouncing down the stairs as a 5-year-old. And there was a family friend at the bottom of the stairs who told me that God came and took my father. I spent weeks looking for my father and waiting for him to come home. Little did I know how much my life would change at that point.
Adults who were not told about death when they were children and were held back from understanding what was going on and just treated like this as adult business, not children business, are at a disadvantage.
It's important for kids to say goodbye when somebody dies for the same reason it's important for adults to say goodbye. It's very hard to go on without having some sense of service, ceremony, and closure.
I had to allow Larry to be with his mom before she died. I had to, because I did not have that chance to say goodbye to my dad.
It's really sad when a child experiences death, and such a close death at such a young age. But death is part of life, and we all lose people. And how you handle that is very, very important in your life.
And I think what we've tried to tell our kids is that our bodies are just a small part of who we are, and our spirits are much more important than our bodies. I think I've had those kinds of conversations, but I haven't painted like the pearly gates and the angels on clouds.
Children love to believe in angels. They love to believe in spiritual things. And angels give it some sense and some security and makes it less abstract.
Heaven is like a dream. You can do whatever you want without being told to.
Like in the middle, you'll see God, and then he'll talk to you, and then he'll show you to where your family is, like all your ancestors and stuff, and then you can meet him.
He looks exactly the same, but he has wings.
And is he happy or sad?
Happy.
When I sit and pray and just think about my mother, I feel relaxed and sort of sad, because I know that I lost somebody very, very close to me. And there's nobody ever that can feel that, that space.
If a child's not involved in saying goodbye, they are going to have a lifetime of being incomplete, never having had that sense of being a part. I mean, they were part of a life, but they weren't part of the death. And therefore, it's very difficult to become part of that memory picture.
It was very important to me that when my wife died, that my family members would become involved in the funeral as much as possible. I did not want my experience as a 5-year-old when my father died to ever be repeated again. I included my son in everything. He was in my arms and shared this very emotional time with us. He shared as much as his maturity would allow him to share.
I think what happens with children is that there are certain things that they can and cannot comprehend. And it's really hard for a child at age 3 or 4 or 5 possibly to really understand the whole concept of spirituality. But they can understand that the body stops working.
You tell children the truth in the way that you would tell them anything. You just do it age appropriately, honestly, from the heart, and let them know you don't know all the answers. That's just fine, as long as you are telling them your own truth.
I didn't want to tell him anything until I had spoken to someone who could give me some guidance on how to tell a child that he's lost his father. And they told me to just tell him the truth and to talk to him about it. He came home from school and I said, "Kevin, I have something to tell you." And he said, "Okay." And he said, "Is it good or bad?" And I said, "It's bad. It's bad news." And we pulled the chairs up really close, and then I told him, I said, "You know, Kevin, your dad died last night." And so he just said, "What happened?" And I said, "Well, we don't really know, but you know, your dad was not healthy, and he died while he was in his bed."
I think from the time your children are very young, they want to trust their parents, and their parents want to make sure that their kids feel that sense of trust. So telling kids the honest truth from the beginning will never get you in trouble.
They lost a neighbor, Maury Berman. The Bermans have been our neighbors for 11 years since we've been in this home. And they watched the kids grow up.
Maury made me happy because he just made me smile every time I saw him.
He find the ball and we just play catch back and forth. And then he'll say something like, "We'll have a game. First one who drops it loses." And then so we'll keep on going until somebody drops it. And instead that I drop it, and he'll say, "Well, that didn't count. I'll give you another chance."
And he was one of my best friends.
My mom was fixing flowers and she was real quiet, and I knew something was going wrong because my mom, whenever she gets real sad, she's real quiet. And so I said, "Mom, what's wrong?" And she said, "Uncle Maury just died."
When Mom told me that Maury died, then I felt like I could cry all the time, but I'm used to it now.
Losing somebody is just like losing a body part. Because when you break your arm, it hurts. And when you lose somebody, it hurts.